There you
There you
go.
go.
So this is my colleague, Karen Brownd, who's joining me tonight with in Dr. Rob's steed. He is on vacation, so this is an opportunity for Karen, who's our clinical director at the Seeking Integrity Los Angeles treatment program, to join me. As I told her, I said we'll have girls' night, here on this, but she is a gifted clinician and works with both partners as well as the addicts. So please put your questions in the Q&A and we will do our best to answer them. So hello, my husband is the betrayed partner. His parents are coming into town. He has asked me to stay at a hotel for 4 days while they're here. Although I'm disappointed, I'm willing to do whatever it takes for his safety and healing. I think my husband is more ashamed about giving me another chance. Who froze? Oh, I froze.
Yeah, I'm here. I can
I
see
froze.
you.
I see. I froze. So did you hear the whole question? Are you following along? Did you click up the
Yeah,
questions? Okay.
no, I heard the question. It's a betrayed whose husband, it's a partner whose husband is a betrayed spouse, and his family is coming in town, and then she was concerned about, and that's where you froze.
So click on the Q&A at the bottom of the screen. You'll be able to follow along because you're panelists. So I will reread I think my husband is more ashamed about giving me another chance than he's letting on. He's told me many times he intends to never tell them about my cheating. Is it common for the betrayed partners to feel ashamed of supporting a cheating spouse? How can I support him best?
So I'm going to answer that from experience of dealing with. I've not only worked with males as the person that is acting out, but I've also worked and run a female program for females that were acting out, and the betrayed spouses or partners were male. So what I have found out more, and I'm sure times have changed, but it was mainly the male partners or spouses that were afraid to share that. And many times they would say, well, what will people say? Well, we now hear the same thing with females, but I still think it's one of the opinion. It's one of the still the old things that's in place of, well, there are no people, and what would my friends think because I'm the man and this is the woman, and things like that. And I think a lot of times, as we know, women are relational and much more relational.
I think this is from, and if I'm reading it correctly, I'm not 100%, but this may be a gay couple. So.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
So let's just take it as okay. My husband is the betrayed partner. So regardless of sex,
of whatever.
So yeah. So okay.
I would take it. I don't know how long that this has gone on, nor do I know how long that you have been working in recovery around things such as that. I'd have a conversation with him or her and say, is this, do you believe I'm in recovery? It may be a family of origin for him or her that does not believe that people can act out in any addictive pattern of behavior, and therefore would not be accepting until they understood. What do you think, Tami?
Well, it's so complicated, but the shame is I just talked to someone again this afternoon that was talking about the shame that they felt, for like, how did this happen? So for betrayed partners, it can be really challenging if they're going, how did I not see this? How did this person deceive me all this time? I mean, it's so complicated. I reminded this person in its head knowledge, the shame is not yours. Shame is useless, regardless of whether you're the addict or the partner. Shame is a useless emotion, the shame spiral, and then you get stuck, and then you have a reason to relapse or whatever. But I love what Karen said about, like, I have a conversation. I think it's fair to say, I hear what you're saying, and and like you're asking me to do this for your safety, you know, like what would the excuse be? I'm kind of wondering, what is the excuse of why you're gone if you're at a hotel when his family is there? Or is there still, maybe it's still too early and it's a vulnerable time for the two of you, and so just he wants to have time with his family and get support and nurtured or something like that. So I don't know, you maybe don't know, so it may be just at this point, I hear you asking for the safe boundary. I'm willing to do this, and here's what I'm going to do. While your family is here, I'm going to double up on my meetings. I'm going to connect with my spouse. I'm going to do a whole bunch extra recovery things, to take care of me, and so that I'm not feeling left out and vulnerable, I mean, because that's an easy place for an addict to go to. Likewise, is the shame of, oh, I'm being ostracized from the family. No, I'm going to choose to use this time in a different way, is a thought. So
it's about, and I think, Timmy, there was another note that came in that added that the husband is planning on sharing that with his family, what is going on. So
no, he's planning to tell them a lie about my absence. So yeah.
So truth. It's just, so I believe what we said is the best way to go, is just to have the conversation and really understand, because at some point things have to step forward, and it's going to step forward when both feel safe in doing that and talking to family or talking to support people. But I would get my support team behind me to make sure that I'm okay while his family comes in town, and go from there.
And I'm kind of going, is there a way that he can be truthful without telling the whole truth, but just say, we're struggling right now. And, I really wanted to enjoy this time with you. So we've just made this decision, but having your partner lie to his family doesn't feel like integrity either. So I hope you have a conversation and see what you can do that will feel like a good plan for each and both of you. So okay, my husband has used porn. So if you've got questions, if you throw them in the Q&A, I can get them. We'll keep moving on down the row. My husband has used porn and Insta girls as well as an affair. He now wants to get back into art and tells me painting and researching painting of female faces, all similar and young like the girlfriend in porn. He likes the form of female eyes, lips. He says, I'm crazy to be bothered by this. Been here with photography before.
Well, I'm just making up that you answered your own question there by if one way doesn't work, enacting out another way can work. So I just really suggest you seek your own support for you, and go on what you're believing is happening, and hopefully there can be some couples work done together, so that people can get to the truth. And that's not judgment. That's just sort of the same thing, whether it's a picture or a photograph.
Yeah, and so one of the things that Kristen Snowden has used in our webinars is the story I'm telling myself. And so I wonder if you said to your husband, the story I'm telling myself when you're doing this art is that you're doing the same thing, just a different version, or something along those lines. So it isn't even, it isn't, you're doing this, and, it's just the story I'm telling myself. And it really hurts me that you are, that you do not see that I'm hurt by this, or that I could be bothered by this. So I think that there's some opportunities for communication, but yes, 100% get support for you during, yes. You're not crazy to be bothered by this. This is
not at all.
Just another form, like you said, same, been there, photography before. So.
Right. Same thing.
We're validating you. You're right. Okay. What's the point? This is from one of the clients. What's the point of looking into past events, trauma in recovery?
Interesting question. First, if it's a person that is new to the program, I suggest that they hold on and wait and go with the flow of the program to really understand that answer. If it's people or someone that has been there for a while, then the overview is to look at what is the current behavior, who are you harming? Is it your family, your spouse, your partner, your children, yourself in this whole process? We're seeking integrity. That means the truth. And the truth sometimes means looking back at what happened in my earlier life and as an adolescent, as an adult, that kept adding to this any type of acting out behavior. I'm not sure what this behavior is because I don't know the person, but I think the past is to be looked at so that they can let go and do trauma work around it, but also to see how each step increased and got them to being in treatment at this time.
And interestingly, I mean, you can't in our treatment program identify all the things. A couple of years ago, I've been as we say in program, around a few 24 hours. I've been in the program a longer time. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple years ago, something came to light that I could not have identified early in recovery. Now, that didn't mean I didn't have recovery and I wasn't doing things, but there's always layers. But, I think it's really helpful to be able to identify. Troy Love talks, we have webinars with him. There's a men's group, and he does work with the clients that are seeking integrity. And he talks about attachment wounds. And to be able, I had something a couple weeks ago, and I was like, oh, that's poking my abandonment wound. And to be able to identify, oh, that's poking that, have that head knowledge and go, oh, that's what that is. And I don't have to, jump in and go, oh, poor me and all of that. I can go, oh, that's real, that hurts. And I have choices on how to do things differently rather than just go right back to the same old things that didn't work and get you in a treatment center. So I think it's really critically important to not just stop the behavior, but to have a plan for it, because life is life and stuff's going to poke you. So to be able to go, oh, that's that wound, and I can still feel that. It doesn't make it less. It just makes it so that I can look at it differently. So,
and it's to make sure that it's always okay to look at things, but you can learn how not to fall to your knees or be frozen in that same past behavior, but to acknowledge it and move on. So like the big book says, it's not to close the door on the past. It's something that was there for a reason. And how do you move on and actually thrive in your life?
Right. And not fall into shame about the things that we did, but, acknowledge it. It took what it took. We have ways to make amends. We have ways to move forward differently, but we can't move forward differently if we're just repeating the same cycle. So we do have to understand. So next question, dealing with childhood trauma and sex addiction. Is it sexual abuse if the person touching a person is the same age, or what is it labeled?
So what I'm reading is someone was a child and there was trauma because there was sexual abuse by another person touching a person. And it doesn't matter what age it is. There can be consensual, because I don't know from this question, are we talking about someone that's 12 and 13, or are we talking somebody that's 5 years old or 3 years old or things like that? And I'm also assuming here that it doesn't tell me if the person doing the touching was an adult or older person or not. So bottom line, I just always go with, if it's not consensual, unless I know more to this question, if it is not consensual between two people, then it is abuse. And it's a very big difference if the person is a child who is abused and the abuser is an adult, and that would be illegal. So not knowing more, Tami, what are you
Well, I'm just thinking children can't give consent. I mean, like you're talking, somebody's, 5 or 8 or what, I'm like, they can't give consent. So, even if it's the same age, to me, that means, and I don't know this, but, I suspect, they learned it somewhere else. So something happened to them and then they're experimenting, with you or your loved one. I don't know which, but it still is not consent.
Right. And I think just to add to that, not sidewind this question, but it's really important to know that so many of the clients that we have seen in whatever program we have been in, Tammy, is that a lot of times the porn usage for children start because they've seen parents or relatives porn. It may be an older brother, it may be an older sister, maybe a father's porn, or that they were given the pornography early on to see. And now with our technology, it's so easy to get to. But we have seen that over and over again, and that in itself is abuse, to hand to a young child pornography when their minds are not at an age to even understand what's going on.
Yeah, so, there is a legal age of consent, and there's a reason there's a legal age of consent, because under that age, you don't have the wherewithal to know what you would be consenting to. So,
Agreed.
Okay, next question. Spouse of an SA, discovery 3 years ago. My spouse has done no recovery. Every time I go visit my friends out of town, my spouse has constantly texted me, accusing me of cheating. Of course, this is very triggering. He claims he is expressing his feelings. I found text messages on his phone from about 8 months ago regarding male enhancement pills that actually had his name in the text. I feel he is still acting out, and that is why he is accusing me.
Well, I would hope that you have a therapist that you're working with to provide support. I have not seen your spouse or understand what's going on, but it reads as if that your gut is probably spot on with what's happening. And for someone to say they're in recovery, but not live it and be a part of it and seek help when they want to act out, then they're not fully in recovery. So I suggest you take care of yourself and get your own support group around, and then see if, because there was discovery 3 years ago, and hopefully your spouse is seeing a therapist that can help.
Yeah, and I would say there's zero recovery. I mean, like, he may have stopped the acting out, which, although, the 8 months ago with male enhancement pills makes me suspect, but like, the very first, I think, is abstinence, is just not doing the behavior. Recovery is the journey, and like he wouldn't be sending you text messages. He would be going, have a great time, I hope you enjoy your family and friends and everything else. I mean, that's recovery, is like completely different. The has done no recovery work. You in AA, we talk about a dry drunk. A dry drunk is somebody who quit drinking and then is all the nastiness of not drinking, but just not drinking. And there are a lot of people that get told, oh, we liked you better when you were drinking because you were a mellow drunk, and, you're a not nice, human being now. So there's a reason why, I think the worst spot to be in is to stop the acting out and not have any of the tools to use that we learn, by engaging with other people that are in recovery, that show us how to do life, that show us how we can be different. So we're supposed to not do what the problem behavior was, but we don't know how to do life, and so we have to feel the feelings and everything else. It's a terrible place to be in. So
it's miserable.
Yeah. So what, I think for you, I would encourage you to set healthy boundaries of, like, when I'm out of town, don't text me, or I'm going to block your number, or whatever you need. I'm just making stuff up. But what is it, if he's not willing to do anything, towards recovery, is that okay with you? If 3 years from now, he's still doing and not doing the same things, is that okay? What do you need to see different? People have in-house therapeutic separations, there's a whole bunch of good therapy things that can be done, that can help somebody choose a different path. Meaning, if staying the same is not as comfortable as it is, then I might be willing to get, some help to change. So I hope he does. I've always hope everybody gets recovery. It's so good if but people are like, no, I want to hang on to, like, the person with the art. I want to hang on to the things that I want to do, regardless of how I'm trashing everybody's life. That's and feelings. I just want to hold on to what I want to do. Me. Okay, next question. As a betrayed partner, am I to live life looking over my shoulder for this addiction to be this demon in our lives? I want us to survive and even thrive, but it's so hard to reconcile this betrayal and the stronghold it could have moving forward. I get that.
Mm-hmm. And this is what we hear all the time is the worst part of things is, you're not the person that I married or that I chose to be with in my life. You're different. You're not the same person. And is this ever going to be over? Is it ever going to be fixed? Is it ever going to be on and on with that, which is such a heartbreaking place to be, to always wonder, will there be trust? I think what Tammy was saying a few minutes ago is if the partner who is acting out, if they are in recovery, if they are living it, breathing it, walking it, talking it, doing it, not lying, not trying to manipulate, and continuing to show up, then over time, that the ability to trust for the betrayed partner can get stronger. A lot of times it'll bring up their own trauma or their own work that they may need to do because they've gone through mistrust or rejection in the past, and it brings up everything. So do you have to look over your shoulder? If you need to right now, you need to. But as far as future it's up to the partner that has acted out, if they are truly going to be in recovery and live it. And you will know it and you will see it. I've seen a client not long ago that never believed that would happen. And a year after the process, the two people are actually together again and working a program, their own kind of program, one for support of being betrayed partner and the other client. And they're together now, and they thought they never would be. So those are the things, it's staying in there with it. And if you're comfortable having your boundaries and having support for yourself.
I think there's a couple of things. The eyes wide open, you can move forward. Can it ever be the naive trust? And I don't mean that in a negative way, but like, this person has my back, I have their back, and they're never going to hurt me, and all of that kind of stuff. Because now you know that your partner can hurt you. They can go to that dark place. But what Karen was talking about, Dr. Rob wrote a book, Out of the Doghouse. A step-by-step guide for rebuilding trust is really what it does. And when the person says, I'm going to be home at 5 o'clock, and they're there at 5 o'clock, like, those things build trust. And Dr. Rob talks often about trust is rebuilt over time. And so it is showing up and doing life, not just about the not acting out, but doing life, and I hear often from partners that they go, I can see he's made progress. I can see he's changing, and I don't trust it 100%, nor should you. But yeah, it does get better. And Dr. Rob talked, and he shared this story, so I'll share it. Because basically I just recycle what Dr. Rob apparently says, but I'm joking. I hang out with him a lot apparently, but he's talked about when he was doing outpatient therapy, and he had a group of spouses, and one of the spouses had a they'd had a slip in, and she wasn't going to leave him. It was like like other people were like, oh, just leave him, and she goes, why? My life is good. It's his. He's got to go do that work. I'm not going to disrupt my life and my friends and my everything. She had such a good support system, and she knew it was his problem, not hers. So at some point when people come, when the guys come to our treatment program, I invite partners, go get a manicure, pedicure, go have lunch with a friend, go do something that is not focused on his addiction, do something kind for yourself that has nothing to do. Because this unfortunately can be all consuming for both of you, and you need a break. You need a mental health break of just I'm gonna have a nice something that has nothing to do with him and his addiction. But yeah, really many people if on the journey can find a healing path forward. So I am in recovery. I do not see addiction as a demon. I see it as a gift that gave me the opportunity to connect to people in a way that I could not have done, prior to recovery. So, it completely shifted for me. So, okay, next question. I found, oh, this is bad. I found incest
Yeah.
porn. Well, no, okay. I saw incest. I didn't keep reading. I'm sorry. So I found incest porn on husband's phone, also Milfy hookup site, as well as another hookup site. At this time, he was talking, texting without my knowledge with my cousin's wife, as well as calling her young daughter. Okay. And now I'm going to say not good. Taking daughter to get ice cream, and I found pictures of her on his phone. This is very disturbing to me. And he said it was nothing because they're family. Your face and my gut are saying the same thing. So
this would, to me, Tammy, let's just talk to one another. If this was me and this is what I found, I would be reaching out immediately for somebody to help me with this and to find out what how my husband can be helped, because this place is going to go nowhere good at all. And it seems like it's getting deeper with each thing that's being found out. So I'm not in judgment over, but my insides would tell me to make sure that you immediately get some support and help as to what to do and possibly what needs to be done, or how the husband can receive help before it gets worse.
yes,
yeah, to say that?
yeah, well, yeah. I mean, like, yeah. To me, this is like at the very least precursor to offender behavior. So
Exactly.
looking for an opportunity, grooming, because I'm taking to get ice cream. So this makes my gut turn. So I mean, there's sex addiction and there's sex offending. There's some people that are in that kind of overlap of those. This is deeply concerning. So
yes, it is.
Yeah.
So reach out to someone as soon as you can.
Please. Okay. I'm a porn addict and sober for 10 months. Yay. How do you deal with a spouse who occasionally still taunts about porn use discovered 10 months ago?
Oh, that's a common question, whether it's 10 months or 2 years ago. And I think the book that Tammy talked about a few minutes ago, Out of the Doghouse, will say that if I'm the spouse or partner of an addict, I can be happy and wonderful and fine with one another, and then all of a sudden have a memory or see a sign or see something that brings back those feelings, those deep pain, trauma-related feelings of a betrayed spouse. And whatever comes out of my mouth is still those memories and that hurt and pain. It's not over with in just 10 months. It may take a lifetime for people to really learn how to move on and thrive together with it. But if you read Out of the Doghouse, you will see the very same thing. There's a line in there about a couple that goes on a great weekend together, very romantic, very nice. On the way home, the wife sees some type of billboard or sign, reminds her of something when the husband our spouse was acting out, and that was it. And she turned to him and started getting angry. Well, she's still hurt inside. She's just trying to believe you. And so what do I think about it if she still taunts you about it? First, I hope you're doing couples therapy together, where this would be a really good place to bring that up and to have a discussion over what comes up for her that she puts it back out there like that. Because there's something else there that she needs probably to say.
Yeah, I was thinking like it's really difficult, but if you can not engage emotionally and say, I'm sorry my behavior hurt you. What's coming up for you now? What is this right now? What can I do to help you feel safe? Or something like that. I just, but it's like there's something going on, like Karen was talking about. There's a trigger that something happened, because that just doesn't blurt out, out of nowhere. Something's feeling unsafe. How can I help you feel safe? What do you need? What do you need me to do or be or whatever, in that moment, if you can step back. But I love the idea of couples therapy, because that would be, like, when is your spouse, triggered? What is going on for your spouse? And how can you navigate those? Because triggers are going to happen, just like for addicts. So if you're triggered and your spouse is triggered, what do you do with that? And just going crazy is not going to help anybody. So getting a plan and having a plan for when I feel triggered, here's what I'm going to do. when you're not triggered is really helpful. In the moment, not so much. So, okay. I'm struggling with whether or not to tell our adult children about my husband's betrayal. No, 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 no.
You don't even have to go anywhere else with
Yeah.
that question. No, no, and no.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. They have families of their own, and I'm not sure if or what to tell them if we do tell them. Need your help with this.
I think the most important piece, besides us both going no, 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 if y'all notice that part, was if we do tell them, you know, regardless of adult or child or whatever, they are still your children. And I'm making up with this that y'all have not, as a couple, gone through everything right now and been to a place of a full disclosure process and work and recovery work and things like that. I can tell you that I have seen this question come up, and Tammy, I know you, we get calls all the time. Do I tell them regardless? Maybe they're 18, maybe they're 35. You're still the parents. They still love you. They still trust both of you. And sometimes people are surprised when I say they probably already know something is up. But one, it needs to be when it happens, or if it happens, then it needs to be done. It's best done with the therapist and both people there supporting one another in saying, and we're not talking detail, we're not talking nitty gritty, we're just talking that, you know, someone has had some problems that we're working on together. And, you know, it's not for them to know at this point in time, because it doesn't look like, no, if only one person is going to have the conversation with them, then there's something missing in this. And it would always need to be both people together or with the therapist there. But our first step is no, 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 no. And get some help. Assuming that you have a therapist, please talk to your therapist about this idea. And also
You're
spouse
qualified therapists, because a lot of therapists
Right.
don't know what to do with this stuff either. And they're going, oh yeah, you should. So
Right.
so you can never untell. So
Yeah,
so I'm
that's a good
really
way of
glad you're
putting it.
here, and you didn't say, well, last night we told our children, you know. So thank you. So but
Yeah, agreed, Timmy. It's a hard one though. It's really.
and I think what is behind it? What is the purpose of telling them? I think it's fair to say we've got some struggles. We're really working on it. We love you. You know, it's not you guys, it's us. You know, I think that's, you know, they know things are not all, but my nightmare is and I get this kind of regularly is, you know, well, I told our children because they wanted to support me, and now they're not talking to dad because he hurt me. And the opposite of addiction is healthy attachment. So the person that, you know, like, they're still his kids, you know, he's still their dad. And so I would invite you to look at what are you looking to accomplish with telling them? And if it's dividing the family and dividing the kids, you know, that's really hard, you know. And so the more the kids, even adults, you know, can be, you know, either, you know, my dad is getting older and frailer, and it's really tough for me to see his physical and unfortunately mental decline. He's still my dad, you know. I still want him to be my dad. So even at this age, you know, I want that. So, you know, so I'm slow down the process. You can always tell more later. So, but thank you for asking. Please, I'm really grateful.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. Isn't life easier and happier as a single woman? It's so much easier living life and having a good time when single. I've been single for 7 years. I've also heard women on average are happiest when single, while men's happiest relationships. I get lots of friends, exercise, go to 12-step groups, work, and I'm taking paid time off. These groups always remind me to stay single because there are such difficult problems, and I feel immense empathy that so many women go through this. That is, here's what I hear is healthy connections. You have all these friends.
There you go.
You're not just sitting home, you know, you're engaging in life. Great. Do you have to be in a relationship? Heck no. You know, you are in relationship. You are in relationship. I've got lots of friends. I go to 12. You are in healthy connections. Great. You know, but there is research about, you know, people in a healthy relationship, you know, the two people facing the world are, it's two of us against the world. In an unhealthy relationship, you are far better off, as a single person. So yeah. So now I got what Beyonce's all the single ladies going on in my head. So
there you go. I'm just thinking, you know what? I'll celebrate you. You have apparently gone through something, and you're exactly where you need to be right now. And to have somebody say happier, easier, I don't know, happier, good for you. It's your life, and you get to do what you want to do with it. And to have you have good times and be single and enjoy and all of that is, we deserve happiness in our life. We're meant to do that and be that. So thank you for putting it up there.
Yeah. And I absolutely, you are well connected. You have engaging, you are doing great. So rock on, keep doing it. So, okay. Do you have any suggestion for a couple as the addict integrates home after residential treatment?
Yes. One is to make sure that one of the things we always suggest, the person that's coming home from treatment should have an aftercare plan. And if the couple is going to still, Tami had talked earlier about sometimes people decide to have a separation out of the house, sometimes separation within the house, sometimes they're going back home and they're going to work together, each with a therapist and with a couples therapist, to work on continuing to rebuild a relationship of trust and all of that. So always a client needs to have an aftercare plan that's solid, that says, I'm going to do this and this and this. We usually, anywhere I've worked in as therapists, I usually encourage the spouse and partner or whoever it is that's there is to walk through that aftercare plan with the therapist, the client's therapist, and go through so that they understand it and that they can add anything to it and ask all the questions before the person returns to the home. And here's a surprise and here's some paperwork. And that way also we talk about having a schedule between both people so that they can lay out, these are when I'm doing meetings, maybe you have meetings, maybe you have therapist appointments, there's work involved, so that you're starting to communicate at the same, you know where one another is, you know what you can do, you can plan time together or time separate if you want to. But absolutely, I think it's really important to have that and have the knowledge of that if you two are going to be together and work on things from that point.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Tami?
No, I do. And I think, integrates home. So that clearly, sounds like, coming back to the residence. So, it is important to have a plan. Like a lot of this is communication and planning, like really, because the stuff that, like I said earlier, the story I'm telling myself, the stuff that I make up between here is, like I need to validate that is really true. And for partners who don't have a good support, therapist, like when people are leaving our program, if the partner does not have a good codependent aligned support therapist, we absolutely want to try to give them, resources and support. I'm glad you're here. And there's betrayed partner drop-in groups and there's just a lot of resources. I was talking to somebody earlier today. I talk to people a lot, but I said, this is the world that you would, because they don't know what to do. And I'm like, oh, of course you don't. Nobody, there's no manual on, and then on, at this point in your relationship, you're going to have to learn about sex addiction and betrayal trauma. And nobody knows this stuff until you have to. And then there are a lot of resources and we work to have, a lot of them on sexandrelationshiphealing.com. So
Tami, that's where you're suggesting if people are looking for places to go or things to learn about is to go to
sexandrelationshiphealing.com is a good place to start because these webinars are recorded. So there's previously recorded webinars, there's live webinars, there's groups for men and women. I mentioned Troy Love earlier. Twice a month he does a partner's attachment wound group on Thursdays. Every Friday he's on with the guys though, all free. This is all free stuff. So these are options. Dr. Rob's Sex, Love and Addiction podcast has had over 750,000 downloads. I haven't looked lately. It's maybe over 800,000 now. I don't know, but there's just good resources for you to start learning what's real. There's so much garbage, I'm using nice words, on the internet. So getting
Yeah.
what really should I expect? What really is real? Somebody used, somebody wrote, an unpleasant email the other day, and they were like, you should have only recovered people. And I was like, then I'd have nobody on our website because nobody's recovered, so I mean, it's just, it's a process. All of this is a process. It's a journey. And if you just settle in and go, there's support along the way on the path, keep reaching out to other people, you don't have to do this alone.
That's right.
Okay. Next question. Do you think it's mandatory to disclose an affair to your spouse if you know their mental health may not be able to handle it and if they may harm themselves?
So the first thing I would ask is, have you been talking to a therapist, and have you disclosed to a therapist that you are married, you have a spouse, and you're having an affair? That'd be the first thing that I would want to do. So you're seeking support for the problem. I'm not hearing that you're ready to stop doing that, because you're talking about disclosure. And disclosure should never be a bomb that's dropped where, hey, honey, I'm coming home and I just had an affair. It really has to be done where it's safe for the partner and spouse, partner and spouse, to do this together. And the therapist can contact and find out if what does mental health may not be able to handle it. That would be hopefully that a therapist could speak with the spouse or partner, if she's seeing one or he's seeing one, and determine if they're ready. I'm not going to challenge you, but I do want to say that there's many times that we will hear that people say, well, if I tell her, she's really going to get upset, or tell him, they're really going to get upset. So maybe it's better not to hurt them. And it's like, no, is that really the truth? Then do it with therapeutic support. If it's not really the truth and you just don't want to say it out loud, then you need therapeutic support. So I encourage you that there's going to be any disclosure, and I do encourage truth. You'll never be in recovery unless the manipulation and the deceit is being worked on and stops in the process. So that's just my opinion, not as a therapist, as a human being out there in recovery.
And I talk to partners all the time, and somebody was sharing that they were having all these dissociative moments, and as soon as the discovery, like, this was the partner, and as soon as the lying stopped, as soon as there was truth, all of that cleared up. So the first thing I thought of was, I wonder if your spouse's mental health is the crazy making that affairs and lies and addiction cause. I don't know, but having the partner work with a qualified mental health professional to evaluate stability. I mean, if your partner really has that challenging of mental health, then please don't add to it by having affairs and gaslighting and lying. So that just doesn't help at all. So okay, next question. My sex addict husband, says he wants to be empathetic to my betrayal trauma, 44 years of marriage, but he almost always goes to shame. This makes him either shut down or get defensive and resentful of me, and I'm not feeling the empathy. What will help him put aside his shame and be able to really hear me and be relational?
So he's in SA.
No, it doesn't say I don't hear that he's in any husband. Right. Yeah. Because that's where I was going. I was like, I wonder if he's working a program or if he just stopped the behavior. So anyway.
So all I want to say is many times I'll hear clients from wherever come in and say, I don't know what feelings and emotions are. I don't really know what that is. And part of the work that's done in treatment is to work on, because that could be the truth, or they don't know how to identify it because of their own life. But
hang on, there's more to the story. I see it in the chat.
You got another one?
Well, it's the same story. So he's been working with a codependent co-addict approach, not codependent, CSAT for 22 months. He is very Rogerian and non-confrontational. We did the Helping Couples Heal workshop in May and have an APSATS, which is a partner couples therapist, since April. So, okay, that adds what that's the missing piece that was, okay. So does
Yeah.
that help you with your thoughts on that?
My answer is just going to be that if somebody's not able to get into feelings and emotions, then they need to get their own help done so that they can touch it, they can see it, and then they learn what empathy is about. He may not even know that. To shut down or get defensive or resentful could also be a pushback of, I don't want you to go that deep. I don't want to talk about this. I want to ignore it. So I'm not sure, but a therapist would be able to help him really, or to make sure the therapist knows that he's still in that place in the relationship, if he has one. Does that make sense, Tammy?
Yeah, well, and I think it would be interesting, like, so non-confrontational. I mean, there's still accountability, and
right.
so is his therapist holding him accountable, even if it's not necessarily confrontational. There should still be accountability, and and so, like, you did the Helping Couples Heal workshop. Okay, there's a lot about communication skills and things like that. At some point, like having the plan of, like, when we talk about these things, you want to go to your shame and you want to shut down, and that doesn't help us. So what are we going to do today that's going to be different? If that happens, having the communication about, what do we need to do differently? One thing, if we do one thing a little bit differently, it kind of changes the pattern. So he's not going to be, like your best girlfriend and be empathetic. Like, he just, like, that's just not going to be wired, in him, but he can learn to do things differently. One of the things I think is so helpful in our treatment program is it starts with your peers, because you start going, oh, wow, I get it, and I can have empathy with my peers. Well, then you can start translating that to, more connected relationships, like spouses and partners. So it is, but you guys have been together a long time. So those are also patterns that you guys have, it's the dance where you keep doing the same dance over and over again. So you changing your dance step, may help him. What was useful in the couples healing workshop? What can you use? What can you implement? Not just, oh, we read a book and we've learned stuff. How can you apply that, to your life so that, you can do things differently? So, oh, I know what else. So Troy Love did, Troy Love did, on the webinar, at the end of July, he talked about, having the empathy. It was like, okay, like something not about the two of you, but like, oh yeah, that really hurt me when that kid made fun of me when I was 7 years old, or whatever, like being able to relate it to something that is different, but like just having that, that feeling of when you, husband, say something or do something to me, it's like when that kid was bullying you at age 7 or something, but it kind of takes it off on a tangent, but it's, oh, I remember that feeling. Now I can relate to how you feel because I remember how that felt for me. So finding those spots where, like, what hurt me, and being able to identify and relate on that level can be useful too. So that's on sexandrelationshiphealing.com under resources, previously recorded webinars. I'd invite you to, or join him live on his, on his things, but that may be.
There you go.
Okay. How do you balance recovery with living life and not relapse? It seems 90% of my time is focused on attending meetings, literature, and not acting out. 3-second rule. I'm not getting any serious work done, which is causing me to worry a bit. I'm 30 days sober. Is it just in initial phases that it is intense and it will get easier later, or do I need to time box things?
I would say that congratulations, 30 days sober. And understand that 30 days sober is a marker, but it's the first step in a marker. And I see that attending meetings, reading, and not acting out, 3-second rule is good. I'm not seeing anything about a therapist. And 30 days sober is big, but that's when all of those things that you first learned, you know, you're living life on life's terms right now, and you're trying to put everything into play. And a sponsor and meetings is excellent, but I would really suggest that you're working with a therapist on how to balance your life in a way, and also not give up on what you've accomplished in 30 days. I mean, that's huge. But that's the beginning. And eventually, I mean, there's hope, and it will get better. It will get easier down the road. But right now, just congratulations. And remember, you made 30 days. So I'd reach out to my therapist and really have a conversation, or get one if you don't have one right now, to help.
And if you aren't familiar or don't have a Threecircle plan yet, I would invite you to work on that. And while it's a little more work, but you know, I referred a little while ago about, you know, addicts don't want to, you know, they don't want to give up this inner circle, and then the middle circle is I might be on a slippery slope. The outer circle is what gives our life meaning. So hopefully, like for me, hiking is a big thing. I've taken up paddle boarding during COVID. Those are things that fill my soul, and they're, you know, they're not recovery. I'm not sitting in the 12-step. I'm not just reading 12-step literature. I still do those things, but, you know, I'm not doing that, you know, 11 hours a day. So yes, it will get easier. I live the 12 steps now. I could recite them to you, but I also, you know, just they're part of who I am now. So it does get easier, but you're relearning how to live life in a very different way. But I would invite you to get that Threecircle plan, and what is good for you that helps you feel like you have balance, and that you're able to do, you know, I mean, that's really what life is, not the just not doing it. It's about living life in a meaningful and connected way. So, but good job. 30 days is
It's great.
one day at a time. You know, keep going. Okay. I'm the unfaithful addict spouse in a 35-year relationship, and we are about 18 months from disclosure and beginning recovery in this area. We both have AA recovery backgrounds as well. My question is, why do so many programs and speakers on the subject lean so often to blaming the victim, the betrayed? What did you do? Oh, I hate this. What did you do to condone, allow his behavior? What happened to your childhood? Valid question, sure, but not in this context. Not okay at all. It is very upsetting and disturbing to both of us, and we hear it from so many sources, and I don't understand why. Read Prodependence. Yeah, read Prodependence. I've got it in my cupboard. Yeah, I mean, like Dr. Robert, there is no such thing as codependence. And what I said earlier about healthy connections, it really is. And when you're doing codependent and blaming partners and spouses, and you're part of the problem, you're an enabler, you're codependent, you're a mesh, you're pathologized for loving somebody who is struggling and has some brokenness. And like, sure, as Karen said, could we all benefit from doing, you know, some personal work on things? Absolutely. But in a crisis, which is what, you know, a trauma of discovery is, if there's a crisis, it's just about doing the simple things. And, you know, there's no, let's look at your family of origin and why did you permit this? I mean, oh my gosh, nothing you did or didn't do is going to, I mean, is an excuse or reason for your partner acting out. So unfortunately, codependence has become part of our language, of our world, but there is no DSM diagnosis for codependence. They tried to get it in there and it didn't happen. So, and prodependence isn't a new label. It's a lens at which to look at and help support partners. And if healthy attachment is what we're really going for, why would you want to cause, you know, rupture of a relation and go, yeah, you stay on your side of the street and I'll stay on my side of the street? No, how can we get support, but also work on, you know, navigating the path together? So I'm sorry, when I'm looking for, like, I have people tell me, oh, this person used, even CSATs, used codependent language, like really ascribes to it. Well, there's people that have learned that, you know, from, I mean, Patrick Kearns talked about codependence. So yeah, so I mean, it is a thing. So unfortunately, but it's not really a thing. So but there's a different way.
And I just want to say, you two are working together in recovery, in your relationship, and you're willing to take care of one another in a healthy way right now and all of that. So just for couples that are out there making it 35 years and making it right now, congratulations, and really good job in what you're still seeking and looking with one another. I mean, that's huge. So I'm really happy for you. I wish you well.
Yeah, and feel free to page 75 of Pro Dependence has don't use this language, use this language. And I think it's fair. I've had other people who have said, please don't use this language. I need you to use this language because we're really looking to help our relationship heal. So you can, I'm empowering you to take that and share that with them. So, okay, I'm the betrayed spouse of a sex addict. When I look back at pictures of our 20-year marriage, I'm so confused. I thought everything was so much fun and we were having good times together. Now, finding out he had a double life, my memories are ruined. Do the addicts really love us and have fun with us and good memories with us? He says he did, but he is a liar and I do not trust him. How can this be possible when he has an entire life behind my back with other females?
Wow. This is a story we probably hear more than anything, is that there's always something that has been going on. 20 years marriage. I don't know if he's gotten help or anything that's going on with that. My hope is that we're not going to be able to change how you feel or think, and we don't want to do that right now. We want you to get the support that you need to have. But I'm interested if he has received help and is working on getting out of where he is with the addiction so that he can start building credibility, that he can build trust, that he can answer these questions for you, and be able to do that. And I don't see that in here, but that's what I'm hoping. And if not, then I suggest you really get some support for yourself to help you start to heal the best way you can, because betrayal is trauma. And it's there. And no, not working on anything. Okay, don't know. So that's the best that I can tell you is you need to take care of yourself and seek some support for you. And hopefully he will try to get support for himself. I just don't know that. Do you agree, Tami?
Yeah, I do. And, so do addicts believe that they are having fun and everything else, when they tell you that? Yeah, I think so. It's very compartmentalized. So it's like, yeah, I'm having fun doing all this kind of stuff. On the other hand, I often also hear that while I'm, with you and having fun, I'm planning, the
next
or
one.
I'm texting with the female, whatever, so we've had this often where the client in our treatment center will say they're a good dad, and Dr. Rob will call them on it and say you can't be a good dad when you're betraying their mom. You can't be a good dad if when you're at the t-ball game you're texting your affair partner. You cannot. Our program is called Seeking Integrity. We personally strive to live in integrity. We want to help our clients do that. And you can't if you're all compartmentalized and, like I'm having fun in the moment, but I'm still thinking about that. So I don't know. It is sad to me that your husband has, is refusing to do, to do anything. So you getting support. I know lots of partners who stay with the addict for lots of reasons, and that's that's all. But you having healthy boundaries. What do you need to do to take care of you to be safe? Regardless of what he does or doesn't do. That's what I encourage you to do, because and it's so sad because like I said, when addicts I want to do what I want to do, and and they're missing out, like we just talked about with the porn addict at 30 days recovery. Life is really good, and there's lots of amazing people and things and all of that kind of stuff, and we miss it when we're so focused on I just want to do I want to do my online addiction. I don't I'm so driven by the technology. I want to live in this little tiny world. That's sad.
And it's the I, me. It's all about me, what I want, not what is best for coupleship or family or whatever. And that's a whole problem in itself. And so it's if nothing changes, nothing changes. That's
right. I say that all the time too. Nothing's going to change if nothing changes. You can't expect. It's the insanity of you expect a different result doing the same thing over and over again. So, and again, like some people, like they're going, I have my life and I can, great, so one last question, and then we are out of time, but we're going to answer this. My husband says still after 1.5 years post discovery that he doesn't want to be one of those guys in therapy forever. He refuses to get any therapy, so he's not one of those guys, and won't use the accountability partner he says he finally got after 1.5 years because he's fine and he hasn't needed help. What don't do but say I have to go? I'm not quite sure. I'm kind of thinking that means, I don't know.
Huh.
Well, again, that goes to go ahead.
Yeah. Tami, are you reading recovery or not?
I'm reading, I want to do what I want to do. I don't want to do what I don't want to do. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I don't want to be one of those guys in therapy forever. You haven't even tried it. What I really say, what can I say except it's over? That's yeah. And I don't blame you. Like that feels like clear data of I don't want to do anything. He doesn't care about you because he doesn't want to be one of those guys in therapy forever, rather than going, gosh, I can't believe how hard this has been, how much I've hurt you. I'm willing to take ownership of what I've done, and I want to work on us. So I'm sorry for you. There's grief work to be done that he isn't able to step up and be who you had hoped for, or that the partner by your side. But there is life beyond this, and I bet you will not only survive, but you will thrive. So
that's right.
Well, my friend, thank you. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say thank you, Tami. It's
thank you, Karen, for joining me tonight. We'll do this again sometime.
I will too. It'll be fun.
So thanks all of you for the great questions and for being here. The recordings are all on sexandrelationshiphealing.com under resources. You'll see previously recorded, but we love it when you join us live too. So
there you go.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Y'all take care. Bye-bye.